Welcome to Soulful. Whether you're navigating challenges or celebrating victories,
We're here to remind you that every step on your path is meaningful. I'm Tiff.
and I'm Jess.
So let's clear our mind as we fill our soul.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Soulful. As always, I'm Jess and I'm here with Tiff.
Hi.
It's another beautiful day to have a beautiful day, and thank you for tuning in and listening. So I know that it hasn't been that long, Tiff, since we met up to record. But yeah, I know we're both in busy seasons with lots of things going on. And so, yeah, I thought, so let's do a check-in, see how your week has been. And maybe also if you, excuse me, feel like sharing, share something that you've done this week to kind of tap into some of the slowness as well as you move through all of the busy, if you feel so inclined to share. But yeah, just to check in.
Yes, good question about the slowness. And this is a great week for me to answer this question for you. I can't always. Yeah, next week picks up the pace even more for me next. So I was like really mindful this week of being like, okay, we need to take a chill pill. I mean, I say that I still work 45 hours, but it was slower than most. So this week I spent a day in the countryside by the pool. My partner's sister, that was great. Then I spent a day, albeit it was a busy slowness at the water park, but it still recharged me in a
Yeah.
lot of ways. So I did the water park. And then Thursday night, trying to think, it was Thursday night. Yeah, I had all these plans to do all this work and stuff. And I was like, you know what? I want to sit down and watch The Bear. I
Mm.
just want to do nothing and watch The Bear. For anybody who
Mhm.
watches it, I don't know. Season one, season two was great. Season three almost lost me. Season four is touch and go. But anyway, I'm still following along. Jess, do you watch The Bear?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I
Okay.
feel
Well, I won't
very
say anything for
similar.
spoilers. Oh, you feel similar? Yeah.
Yeah.
It was like season one and two. I was like hooked. It was so great.
Yeah.
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 So yeah, just prioritizing that. And yeah, because Thursday night I was like, I can just get up and be really productive Friday morning, and I was. I let myself chill out, and then I made a little list because that helps my mind to calm down a little bit. So I
Yeah.
made a little list about what I was going to do the next day, and I was like, okay, right, we are tabling all of this. It'll be handled tomorrow, and yeah, so I just indulged. I even got in bed and watched it. I was like, I know it's like 6:30, but I don't care. I want to get in bed and watch the show. So
Mhm.
yeah, so I think I did a lot of things this week. It's not normally this much slowness, but yeah, it was great. What about you?
Just tap it into what you need.
That's right.
Um, yeah, I really like that with the list too, because I'm like that. Like if I don't have it on a list, chances are it just won't get done.
Yeah.
And also if it like stays in my mind, I feel like it can like there's this like continuous feeling of overwhelmness, right? Like if I just don't
Yeah.
get it out. So yeah, I like that like really just practical tip. And like honestly, when that was first suggested to me, I was like, okay, I know like making a list is going to be so helpful. And it really was. Anyways, I just love that you shared that. And yeah, same about the bear too, by the way. Like yeah, I said to my partner, I was like, I don't feel the same watching this season as I had for other seasons. Like even season three was like a little slower, but I could still like I was still looking forward to seeing like what's next. And I just find
Yeah.
now things are just really like like dragging on. And also, I don't know, this is like a little off topic, I guess, but like we haven't even gotten to the topic yet, so maybe it's not. But I don't, you probably don't watch Criminal Minds. But I
No.
really love that show. Like that's like one of my, it's like a, it's like my safe show, you know, it's always like in the background that's like replaying. Yeah, like
Casual crime and murder, safe
yeah.
show.
I
Yeah.
was like, yeah, like, yeah. Anyway, so I really love that show. And so of course, like as shows go on for so long, like shows are changing, right? Like their characters and all of the things. I mean, that's just normal. So I guess during COVID, the show had stopped and then it came back after COVID. So in this new, it's called Criminal Minds Evolution. And I didn't even hear of it. Actually, my partner told me about it. And I was like, oh my God, how did I not know? So I started watching it. and everything in that show is so like dramatized. Like it's like and not that it wasn't like not that it was super real and like before like obviously it's a fictional show. Some of the cases were like built on true crime stuff, but anyways, like this is like and like the characters who have been in the show for years are like saying like swear words and they're using like language that like I don't know would be like cool like or like perceived as like cool like you know what I mean like
I think
for
so.
I guess for like the viewers because like the it's shifted so much now like the generation that is like watching these shows are like it's different. So anyways I was like the whole time I was watching I was like man it just doesn't feel the same. And that's kind of how I feel with the bear. Everything is like really like really just it feels different. I don't know. It just feels different. Anyways,
Yeah. It feels different. It's dramatized. It is geared to other generations. Yeah. Got it.
yeah. I was like, why are you swearing? Like David Rossi would never swear. Like that is not cool. Like it's just anyways, I was really like, anyway, I just didn't like it. I don't love it.
Yeah.
Um, but anyway, so that's that, my little side tangent on how the film and TV industry has just shifted a lot. Other things, but that is something that I've done for moments of slowness this week is watch the show while I'm beating usually, or I have something on the background while I'm beating. And and actually there is a lot of music stuff happening this week. So I feel like so we had like a concert on Monday. Was it Monday? Yeah, it was Monday. And did I love the musician? They were the Road Hammers. I don't know if you know them. They're like an older like country band. Not really my thing. There was a couple of songs that threw me back to like being a kid and like cassette tapes and stuff. But anyways, I just that's like my moments of solace. Like it was busy and it felt really like loud and all of the things, but yeah, it's just what I love to do. So it just feels like that is like yeah, those are moments of slowness for me. And then today and tomorrow I have some more music coming up. So I was checking my list off yesterday and the day before to get all the things done
Mm.
so I could enjoy this weekend. And those are going to be my moments of slowness for the week. So I'm really, really looking forward to seeing Our Lady Peace and 3 Days Grace this weekend.
Oh, I've seen both. Great show. It's going to be a
Yeah.
great show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Our Lady Peace goes to like Newfoundland a lot. So I have seen
Yeah.
them a few times, but I've never seen 3 Days Grace. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen Our Lady Peace a few times too. Only 3 Days Grace just once, but yeah,
Mm-hmm.
great show.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm excited. So anyways, so that's that. So I guess now that I've yeah went on a couple of little side tangents about different things,
Little squirrel
maybe
journeys.
maybe we can jump into the topic I guess for today. Um, so as you know, I was kind of thinking about like what topic I wanted to do this episode on, and yeah, nothing really like came to me. There was nothing like jumping out, and so I tried like a few different ways to like tap into like that creative part to be like, what is it that I really want to like, use this space and this opportunity to like, talk about or to deepen in on. And yeah, I wasn't feeling called to anything. So I usually get topics from like themes that I'm either going through like in my own inner work or hearing from people because I'm in lots of different spaces. So like hearing themes that might come up for in some of those spaces. But yeah, nothing really stood out to me this time. So I was journaling about this the other night and I sat down, I was like just doing my nightly journal. And then I was talking about how I wasn't sure what I wanted to do for the podcast. And then I was like, wait a second. It was like a light bulb moment. I was like, maybe that's a topic for the podcast. And so I kind of went with it, see where my thoughts would lead me. And so I guess where it led me is like right now, um, in my growth journey or inner work or however we want to frame it, it just feels a little bit different. And so I sometimes have a hard time articulating what I mean by that. So bear with me. I think, yeah, I think that's the point of why I wanted to have the conversation today. So I keep coming back to this word of like disconnected. And I don't think that that's the way I feel.
Yeah.
So I feel like just being. I just feel like I'm just being. And so existing, like there's some words that kind of come up. But I don't, yeah, I think it could be disconnected from the inner work, but not like in a weird way, like not in like a
Mm.
avoidance kind of way. Like I'm still feeling really happy, balanced, but I'm not digging or diving into any of those things, like any like heavy topics or any specific topics. So I think, yeah, I think that's why it feels different for me this time because before came from more of this like, I don't want to do the work, or maybe like I'm not ready to do the work. And now
Mm.
emotionally, I feel just still. Like I think the word stillness is something that comes back. So I'm still feeling really connected to, yeah, my creator, earth, the people around me, all of the things. So, but my heart and mind, I guess, just feels really still. So, Tiff, I guess I'll start by asking you, like, first of all, if anything of what I'm sharing registers for you at all, or if you have similar experiences, and maybe like what that stillness or like what a pause or how that just kind of this moment might feel like for you, like in those times, if you have anything to share in that.
Oh, I have so many thoughts. Let me try to ground them all. But no, just that word stillness. Like I just feel a calm when you say that word. So I just wanted to reflect that back, like as you say the word stillness, and the state of just being. So last year, a story that I want to share that comes up for me, and I didn't even premeditate this at all, but here we go. um, the last year I was running a coaching program. I had some women in a coaching program, a group coaching program for 5 months. And before I started this, I had started on a journey with my coach. I had a couple of different coaching mentors during that time, and I talked about how I have a strong tendency to go till I burn myself out. And so, for
Mm,
me, the that stillness is real too, but it's not just being. It's like comes from a place of total exhaustion, stress, and burnout,
yeah.
and I usually feel apathy in those moments. Those are the
Mm,
moments where and disconnect does really resonate for me in those spaces. And it
yeah.
still might look like stillness on the outside, but that's just not really the word that I would choose in those moments. But sure enough, I start doing the coaching program, that pattern comes to surface. I am overexerting myself, nothing I'm doing is good enough. I need to go push harder, grind more, get more done. And I looked at my coach and I was like, okay, well, all the times before I could easily put my finger and blame at my other work for pushing me so hard and like whatever. Well, who do I point the finger at right now? The only person I can point it at is myself because I am my
Mm,
own boss.
mm,
And I said, I'm not going to like feel bad about that, but I said, I'm really acknowledging this pattern in myself that I don't understand why I do this other than a lot of performative pressure. And so she started to talk to me about masculine and feminine energy. And she was like, well, how do you just be? And I was like, this was
what?
last summer. I'm like, I mean, I don't know. And like the question threw me off so much because I was like so used to pushing and grinding till I hit the wall
Hmm.
and then waiting till like I recharged enough to get up and just do it all over
Yeah.
again. And so I spent this whole past year in a journey of exploring what that meant for me and what that looks for me, and how to like relish in it versus push it away. Like, and when I talk about masculine and feminine, I am no expert in this area, so I just want to say this is all that I know. But for me, being in your feminine is the rest, ease, play, like just being in spaces, and it's not about needing to do, to achieve, to perform,
Mm,
to like the masculine, the structure of everything, and I don't mean like men or women, I mean masculine and feminine energies.
yeah.
Um, and the beautiful thing about, I don't even remember originally what your question was, but the beautiful thing about being in those states of being is just, what is the word I can put to it? Just I think you might have mentioned this earlier, but like just the state of flow where everything feels Like, I feel like the word is content. Perhaps maybe
Mm,
just content. It's easy. It's so I do know that space well. And something that I still put work on, and I'm sure we'll get into this later, is like not allowing guilt take that space from me
mhm.
where I am because and I have one more thing to say because I was reflecting about this topic for my newsletter and I think about this chipmunk I have in my backyard and I promise I'll stop talking in a minute. This chipmunk I have in my backyard, they if you watch a chipmunk, that thing hustles almost all day long, okay? It's like running, scurrying, burying food all day long.
It has a
But you
job. Yeah.
and it's a doer, okay? It's going to
Yeah.
do its job. But there are these really sweet moments where they stop and they like gaze at the sun and they like you just see it. They're like soaking it in or they're like eating a little fruit and like they are just so in the moment. They're not on threat, they're not in do mode,
Mm,
they're not and I just think about that when I think about the guilt sometimes, and maybe we'll come back to that. But it's like, do you think that little chipmunk is feeling guilty for like, it's like, no, like, look at this moment. Like, the sun is beaming right on my face, and
yeah.
I'm going to soak this in, you know? So, if I could say what just being is, or like that stillness for me, it's like, yeah, it's that feeling of the wind on my skin, the sun beaming on my face, the, just total present awareness, I guess, as well, as much as I can hold. And Jess,
Yeah.
I don't even remember what your question was, but that's all the
Yeah.
thoughts that wanted to bubble and I told you I had a lot.
Yeah, I think you covered it all. Like the question, you definitely answered the question. And what I really appreciated actually was like the masculine and feminine energy. And yeah, because I haven't really done much looking into that before. And so just
Yeah.
yeah, it might be something that I kind of put on my radar a little bit to explore around. And I think that differentiation between like, yeah, it doesn't mean man and woman. Because I think sometimes when we talk about that, like the masculine, feminine, like, but we have parts of both.
Yeah.
And I think that, yeah, I think that doing that, achieving that busy kind of like goal is where I spend a lot of my time. And so that's why I said like this feels new for me, like this space of like, because before that space of just being came very much from yeah a burnout or it came very much from like I am actually completely detaching from everything around me, and I'm avoiding all the things, but this time it just feels different. So I guess even in like a season of like newness, like a new feeling, there are like things that might come from this that I want to kind
Yeah.
of further into in a little bit. So yeah, and the story with the chipmunk as well, like just kind of really reflecting on that because I know we talked a little bit about that in our last episode about like animals and kind of like, they have these roles and then yeah, they don't really think about all the things like that chipmunk's like, wow, I should not like look at the sun and enjoy these couple of moments. It just happens and then
Yeah.
moves on and continues to do the thing. So yeah, thanks for sharing all of that. Some really good like reflections for me. And so and it's like I guess like yeah, it's funny before I didn't or before I really guess started thinking about and reflecting on this, I was like, yeah, I'm just kind of like being right now. And I didn't even know what that meant. I was like, I don't even
Mm.
like I said the word, that's what it felt like. I said the word and I'm like, wait a second. Just like a similar reaction, right? To like your coach kind of being like asking you that question. And yeah, so I really had to figure out what that was. And I like that you mentioned about guilt. And I think like, yeah, let's just jump into that now because I think it makes sense to do so. But
Yeah.
there was a lot of guilt that came from that, right? Of like, I should be doing more or like I'm not doing enough, especially being in spaces of like recovery or like having
Yeah.
lots of these conversations of like supporting other people through this. It kind of feels like, well, wait a second, I'm not doing those things and I should be. And yeah, I didn't think of it in just like this being, or didn't know what it meant. So um like I didn't pay attention to it, I guess. Like I was just living, I was just existing,
Yeah.
loving my life. And then when I started thinking about what just being meant, and it meant like
Mm.
I'm not doing anything, right? It wasn't until
Yeah.
like I paid attention to it that I'm like, oh, wait a second, like I'm not doing anything, like that feels weird. And now it's like uncomfortable, where before I was just doing it and like I didn't have feelings of inadequacy or guilt or shame or any of that. So it was just interesting for me to see that flip a little bit too, like the last couple of
Right.
days, like being more attentive to it, where like the last like 6 weeks or so, I was just doing it and it was great. And I loved it. And now I'm like, oh my God, now I'm going back to like this cycle, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, that's yeah, and in Q, like all of the ways to kind of work through that. But anyway, so I'm not sure, and it sounds like you can, but if you can like relate to those feelings of, guilt and
Yeah.
inadequacy and all of that, and these kinds of seasons. But yeah, how did you like, I guess, navigate it or kind of like work through it?
Yeah. I just want to like acknowledge back to you're like I started thinking about it, and so like the thinking it sounds like took you out of being, it's like
Yeah,
I started thinking about it, now I'm no longer just being, now I'm
exactly.
thinking about being, which is not the same as being,
So true. Yeah.
so yeah, that just jumped out at me when you were talking about that, and I feel like maybe not everybody relates, but I feel like this is such a universal thing that maybe you haven't even acknowledged in yourself, because I meet so many people still in all different walks of life that like the mindset is still hustle more, grind more, like what are you
Mm,
doing? Like, like the world is hard to live in. You got to make money. Like all of these like tough living
yeah,
like pull up your bootstraps kind of beliefs that have been ingrained into like our whole fabric, of
yeah,
society. So especially in Western culture, like especially.
yeah.
So for the guilt part, I think the thing that has been helpful and continues to be helpful for me, and we talk about curiosity here all the time, but to get really curious about what guilt is messaging to me, like what is this guilt telling me? Like what am I don't actually believe I have something to feel guilty about, but yet I do feel
Hmm.
guilty. So, the intellectual part can just go away right now because I still feel this way. And oftentimes it comes back for me to younger self where I knew how to just be real easy when I was young and like well, I mean, I guess I had jobs early on, but I also really knew how to just like relish in especially in the summer months. And the word that sometimes got thrown around was like, don't be lazy. And so for me, a lot of the time, what I
Yeah,
was running from in those moments is like, oh my God, can't be lazy. Like trying
yeah.
to prove to myself I'm not lazy. But when I take lazy with a neutral stance, I'm like, what does that even mean? Okay, like, what does it mean to be lazy? Okay, if it means that I get to chill out and relax for a little bit and not have to worry about all the to-dos, is that actually bad?
No.
Like, it's not. So I think for me, it's about like leaning into why am I feeling guilty? Like, what is the reason? And uncovering kind of maybe what's in the belief system of like, why am I not deserving? Like when I think about the chipmunk, it's so clear. I
Hmm.
can just like shed that story. I feel like metaphors always work really well for me. It's like I'm just the chipmunk in the lazy river floating around having a great time right now. We can let everything else go.
Yeah.
The chipmunk's probably not in the lazy river, but I was in the lazy river.
That's where you were. Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I was. And I was really in my head, and then I was like, no, like let's just like calm and be here, because yeah, what good is it to take it away from myself? Now I've achieved absolutely nothing when I
Yeah.
look at it that way. It's like anyway. So yeah, that's for me. What about you?
Yeah, I think like so I had to write a note because something popped up as you were chatting, and that's why I wanted to have this conversation because I knew that would. But like yeah, even when you're talking about like culturally, right? Like it's so true that this like the energy of like do more, be more, work more,
Yeah.
it is really instilled in our culture. And what it made me think about, excuse me, was when I was in Costa Rica. And like there is like no sense of urgency there at all. Like people are literally just being all the time. And of course, like as a visitor, like visiting the country, that was a big shift, right? Because it was like, oh, if you want to do a tour at like this time and this time, because you have to be here to do this. And like people really just, yeah, they were just being. And um, it was just really beautiful actually to see that because it was like, no, like we're doing this because we have to. Even like people who I would say like, had these jobs in these like high tourist kind of like areas, did it with just like such like ease, and they were so like lovely and nice and just chill and very helpful. And it was just a very different experience than in other places that I've been with, like especially on high like tourist kind of like visitors or whatever, like people just kind of going like traveling through. So, anyways, I was just thinking about that as you shared, and it's so true. Like we've been so ingrained to, yeah, to work more and to do more and to be more
Yeah.
in our culture. So that I think absolutely, yeah, plays a part. I guess for me, and I smile when you said the word curiosity, I'd be like leaning into that curiosity because I think that's what I'm really trying to like that's what I've been trying to do in the last
Yeah.
well, in the last couple of days, I guess, since I started thinking about it. I wasn't doing this before. But just like the yeah, like what is it that, that I guess my mind, my spirit, just like what my body needs, right? Kind of like leaning in, what is it telling me if I'm just in this place of just being? Um,
Yeah.
and like I know we say this a lot, and sometimes I kind of feel like yeah, but like just trusting that process, right? Like to know that there's
Yeah.
something that maybe this yeah, there's a reason for it, and remind myself that like it's not a stall. And I know I used the word pause earlier, but I don't even know. Like I said, sometimes I have trouble articulating because different words, like I think mean different things. But I think it's just living actually, and like
Yeah.
too much of I think doing too much of the inner work and like really focusing on this all of the time, I think that can be unhealthy too, right? At least it was for me. It has been for
Yeah.
me because I forget to do that living stuff, like that stuff that
Right.
just makes me like happy and just yeah allows me to just be. Because I'm too caught up in like can't say that because I'm doing this, or I can't act like this because I'm working on this. And I remember the question that we
Mm.
were asked in the Get to Know Us episode, and someone was like, how do you stay connected to yourself while
Yeah.
doing inner work? And I just really reflect on that question in this space. Like I've reflected on that a lot in the last couple of days because I think, yeah, it's kind of what I keep coming back to, to stay, yeah, to stay connected. So,
Yeah.
um, yeah. So what else? I was just thinking, there was something that came up. Oh yeah. So this like feeling of like inadequacy or um like and being truthful too. So like I said, I've been keeping up with my routine, right? Like waking up, doing prayer, movement, healthy ways to cope. I mean, sometimes not the great ones as well. But like yeah, just like been doing the things that I've kind of wanted, I guess, in my mind to like achieve eventually, right? Um, so what's my question here? What am I thinking of? I'm thinking it feels really good to just be on the surface and not be maybe really deep in it.
Yeah.
But I also know that it can be tricky because for a lot of the years, I wasn't deep within it because I was avoiding it. And so this
Yes.
meant like any extreme to not have to look at those parts or pay attention to it. And so I think I mentioned this to you before, but like being in the space of like manipulation sometimes, right? Where the avoidance would show through manipulation and letting people hear what I thought that they wanted to hear, and what was like more helpful for me, and just trying to like play this like puppet and master and make sure everything turned out, or pretending that I was working really hard on like, yeah, I'm working on that, and like, saying all these things that like it just wasn't true. Playing the victim. I know we talked about that before because yeah, it was an easy thing to do. So it was helpful for me to reflect on this a little bit because yeah, I did have to think, okay, no, this time it doesn't feel like that.
Yeah.
And like I think truly, yeah, it just isn't because what I'm saying, even like thinking about manipulation, playing the victim, it doesn't resonate, right? I'm not doing it because it fits my narrative. So I guess, yeah, like I am grateful for that. I think I'm just really grateful
Yeah.
because growth is having a space to reflect on things, but not having to like go into that cycle of like, shame, guilt, and all of that, and still being able to be really honest. So I guess the question what I want to and want to try to ask and articulate is like, how do you know when you're in a place of like authentic stillness and
Yeah.
not like avoidance stillness.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a good question. And I just appreciate you differentiating that for yourself too in your own reflections of like, this is not what it felt like before. So,
Hmm.
it's like a clear line as you were sharing. But um, I think for me, if I'm being avoidant, there is a sense of restlessness that comes with that for me.
Mm.
Um, and what that looks like is this like agitation, I think is another word I want to use. Um, I'm not very good at avoiding and it not being internal storm. Like I can avoid something on the outside, but
Mm.
that feeling, the feelings are in me and I feel restless, I feel agitated. Um, and that looks like doom scrolling to avoid other things. That
Hmm.
that
Or
looks like busying putting things in my Amazon cart that I have no intention of buying.
mm,
It looks like just filling. Okay, that's probably what it is. The avoidance looks like I need to fill because I don't feel calm.
yeah.
But when I am in a sense of being, or I am just being, it's calm, it's ease, it's no sense of urgency. I am not restless. I am just in it. Like I'm playing, I'm having fun, I'm laughing. Certainly not overthinking, but when I'm avoiding, I'm definitely overthinking. So
Hmm.
yeah, I think there's some clear differences for me too. Um, and that's not to shame the avoidance parts of us either, because they're real and
Hmm.
they're here. But yeah, it doesn't even feel in the internal landscape for me, it doesn't feel anything the same. Like they are very different, even though both are not doing things, they look very different in my body and
Yeah.
my mind actually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, so true. Like around the it was so funny when you were saying that. I was like, oh yeah, or like getting like caught up in Jack Taylor's drama as if it's like my own.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
as if I'm on a huge part of his life or on that show or whatever. And like immediately I was like, should I go see how many things I've put in my Amazon cart in the last little while?
Yeah,
But
because I'm trying to soothe myself, right? Like, oh, if I buy something new, I'll
yeah.
feel better.
Totally. It's so funny because I was just talking to a friend about that yesterday. Like we were having this conversation about, yeah, just being in this space of like how does it show up? What does it look like? And I was like, that was like a huge thing for me. Like buying things and I
Yeah.
would just whatever, just because I was trying to fill, like you talked like about filling parts. And I was like, yeah, that's what it was, right? Like you're trying to fill something. So no, it wasn't, drinking like it might have been before. Or it wasn't going to the casino, like the other things that we kind of view as like, yeah, it's very easy to tell that that's a, an unhealthy coping strategy. But if I just like blow $500 on Amazon and shit that I don't need, like, no, that's not the same.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is.
That's different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's different. But filling the same parts, right? The same
Yeah.
part. So anyways, yeah, I remember having that conversation yesterday. I'm gonna go back to and tell her to tune into this episode of
Mm.
to see. But yeah, so anyways, I appreciate that. Yeah, it doesn't always have to be active. Like, we don't always have to be doing active work. And it does show up different, right? It feels different. I think like
Yeah.
being honest with that, like, really being honest, because and that's hard too, right? I talk about that in a lot of spaces, especially in addiction recovery. Like,
Yes.
what does honest really mean, right? And kind of like getting off, anyway. So yeah, just how it shows up different and how we feel different too, right? Like we feel different.
Yeah. The
I think,
body tells a real story. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Because then from a
Yeah.
place of avoidance, it feels like we don't feel good when we're doing that, even though we're doing it to feel good. It doesn't make us feel good, right? But being in this space of like stillness or appreciating the stillness, yeah, of course we're not going to shame ourselves or like being upset because we're doing that, because we feel different about it. It feels good for us. So,
Yeah.
and I often think like I don't know, like, is that the whole point? Like, I don't know, maybe this is what I've been working towards and wanting this
Mm,
whole time, right? Is to be able to just find a
yeah.
space where, yeah, I'm not caught up in all of the things of not doing enough or doing too much, because that also brings some of those feelings. And so, one of the things I talk about in the Four Agreements, again, when I do that group, is about energy versus effort. And so, in the book, he talks about like their time of wanting to transcend and and so he says to this like a warrior master, I don't remember the wording, the language now, but it doesn't matter. The premise is that he asks, if I meditate 8 hours a day, how long will it take me to, achieve this mastery? And then he's like, it'll take you 5 years. And he's like, okay, well, what if I do like 16 hours a day? Then how long will it take for? And then the answer is probably like 20 years. And then it was confusing because it's like, wait a second, if I do more, it takes longer. Like
Yeah.
that doesn't make sense. But the whole point was like, yeah, that is the point, is like to be intentional and to like not do it because you have to, but
Yeah.
do it because it feels good, right? Like do
Yeah.
it because it's something that you enjoy and that yeah, that it feels good for you. And so it's like kind of the same thing, right? Like this energy, or this idea of energy versus effort, is like the energy, like my whole goal in life, in all of the things that I do, is for my energy to be really high, but my effort to be low. Because when I have to put a lot of effort into stuff, like it doesn't
Mm,
make it fun for me anymore. I'm just going to be
yeah.
really honest, right? Like, and I know there's a certain points, I guess, like where things, yeah, like I have to put more effort into it because I might be learning something new, or, like just kind of there are going to be moments, but like every day, that's what I want. Like I want to wake up with high energy, but not really feel like I'm doing anything for it, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so just kind of like thinking about that, and just, yeah, being able to show up as I am, not with feelings of like, yeah, I should be doing more or what's next, or and so I I think this week, it was a couple of weeks ago actually. I'll share this quickly. I remember, because there are obviously always going to be moments where like stuff still comes up, right? Like even in this moment of
Yeah.
just being, it still comes up. It's always going to happen. And so, as you know, I have some really strong feelings about technology. And when it doesn't work the way it's supposed to work, I feel like when I remember when I visited, what was it, last fall, maybe the fall before, and we were trying to figure something out with the podcast and my phone wouldn't work. And I immediately,
Yes.
like the first like two or three times, it was funny. And then I immediately go to like the space of like, it's not funny anymore. Right.
Yeah.
Like it just, so technology always has this impact on me. I still need to work on that. Anyways. But the same similar thing happened with my TV, that like I think it was last week or the week before. And I didn't even think about this whole thing until, of course, I'm reflecting on it like in the last couple of days. So our TV, like, it's just slow. I think it might be getting old. And so like the remote doesn't always talk to the TV. And then the remote kind of like decides to like maybe turn up a volume, or like it decides to like go back to the main menu in the middle, or like we have to
Yeah.
pause it, rewind it. So like the mouse, because that also irks me, is when like the mouse don't line up with the sound, like all of these little things, right? That our TV
Yeah.
just decides to do. So yeah, it was like 2 weeks ago. I was sat down and I was like trying to eat my lunch because I had such a short period of time, and I like to watch something while I'm eating, actually. So I'm just like sat down. I was like, okay, I have like 15 minutes. I had everything warmed up. I'm like, I'm just going to watch The Valley. I was watching The Valley. And so I'm just trying to watch it, and then it went back to the home screen. And I was like, no. So I went back and I clicked to go back into the valley, and then finally got it all set up again. Great. So I started eating it, and then all of a sudden it went back. I lost it. I just like slammed the remote down. I took my lunch and I just went on upstairs. I was like, whatever, whatever. I'm not even entertaining this anymore. And like I didn't even really think about that um until, yeah, the last couple of days, because I was like, I've definitely had moments of like where I was angry, like anger or like just really like frustration or whatever. And
Yeah.
that was one of those moments. And I remember like when that happened a couple of years ago, I didn't let it go as quickly. Like I felt a lot of like, I actually felt ashamed that I would act that way because of a freaking TV, right? Like
Hmm.
it's like a TV. I had no control over it. So I kind of went down this rabbit hole of thoughts. But anyway, so it was just like that was a really like highlighted, I guess, moment for me, like to see the difference of like I did get upset and I did slam the remote down, but I just came upstairs and like went back to work and it was fine. Like I didn't like translate, I didn't even stop to think like how shitty it was that I did that. um so anyways, yeah, like that was something that kind of like stood out. And like when I say about, this energy versus effort, kind of like um it felt low effort to just move on with my day. Like,
Mm.
whereas before it took a lot of effort for me
To
to
like
talk
shift.
like to talk myself out of it, right?
Yeah.
So anyways, yeah, anyway, so that was something that I thought about the last couple of days when I was thinking of this whole thing. But
Well, how many of us can relate to the technology woes, first of all? And I just see so much innocence in that story you shared of like, I got so mad, I slammed down the remote. Like, nobody was affected. The remote's already not obeying. And you stormed up over the stairs. Yeah, definitely having the person to fling something across the room or yeah, so anyway, I can relate to you here and just innocence and that is what I is what I felt when you were sharing that story. Yeah.
that's funny. Well, and I think because, like this, and we talked about this in the last episode, but like that fight for me, like really shows through a little bit. Like that's kind of like,
Yeah.
and so I've definitely worked really hard on like for that not to be the way I respond or react. But yeah, that TV. So I think that's kind of like where, like it's like when you're really trying to work on something. And I
Yeah.
remember, I remember even telling like my therapist actually at that time we were having this conversation because that's what we were working on was my reaction, right?
Yeah.
And I remember like, yeah, I remember telling her that. And anyways, it was just funny because, yeah, that remote deserved it really. Outright, no, I'm just kidding. Uh, but I didn't
We
feel
talk a lot
guilty.
about externalizing blame here, so I mean the remote's an inanimate object, so
Yeah. So it's better for me to blame the remote than like for me to come back to work and then blame like my coworker or
yeah.
blame somebody else and like just let it
Right.
carry, right? And translate into
Yeah.
so yeah, it felt different. So it's just like those little moments for me, right? That I like really like
Yeah.
I appreciate that. Like I appreciate even taking the time to recognize it because I also don't think I do that enough
Mm.
as I should. So um
Mm.
yeah. So anyways, I don't think I have any other like questions, but like I don't know, is there anything that you kind of want to any closing thoughts, anything you want to share in relating to the topic today before we log out?
Yeah. Well, I just want to thank you for sharing the energy versus effort that you were talking about because and like that mastery piece. Yeah, I remember learning about that. I was in a leadership conference and it was like mastery is not by the number of hours we push and grind into something. It's about the quality of what we're
Mm,
doing. And yeah, so that anyway, the story of like if I work 16 hours a day, like, oh well, now it's gonna take you 20 years. It's like, what? Challenges those beliefs that a lot of us were built on, a lot of our belief systems around work and what we're supposed to do in the world. And anyway, so I just appreciated that story. The last thing that kind of pops out when I think about this topic that I don't think I mentioned in some of my earlier rambles, but it is a note. I just looked down at my notepad and it was a word I had written across my page, and that's integration. And I think when we bypass these seasons, if we don't allow ourselves these seasons of rest, something that I learned, profound learning over my last year's journey of learning how to just be, is I don't allow space. Well, I'm sure it still happens somewhat without it, but I don't allow space for the wisdom and the growth to integrate into my, I don't know what the word is, if it's like my
Mm,
psyche or my subconscious or like it's a spiritual thing. I don't really know what said word is, but I don't allow that stuff to really soak in. And like when you were sharing your story about like, I don't normally react this way, like what a beautiful moment to be able to reflect, like, look at how much I've grown and look at how much, you know what I mean? Like
mm,
it gives us that space to like slow and integrate. I don't even have another word for it, but just to integrate. And so I what I wrote down is like to be in the stillness isn't actually like a break from growth. It's not. It's like, and this is gonna sound so corny, but you and me and my plant metaphors, but we're just gonna roll with it. It's actually where our growth really takes root. You know, like
mm,
it's like where we can really anchor into the spaces where we've been putting in all that effort, and you know, and just allow that to be. You know,
mm,
and so I think it is just the just being and the being the stillness and I feel like it is such a vital part of the journey. And it's like doing work without doing work. So it's
yeah.
like, you know, those are of course my opinions on it, but like those are some of my other thoughts when I thought about this topic. And for those of you that don't know, Jess approached me with this topic. She's like, I don't know. I don't know about the just being and if this is whatever. And I just laughed out loud because I was having the exact same experience this week where I was trying to write a newsletter and nothing wanted to come forward. And I was like, what is this? And that was a very similar place that I landed. And so I'm just confident that this is going to resonate for other people too, that like, you know, this is a space to cherish and to relish in and
Mm.
enjoy, savor, like and especially summer too. Well, maybe not everyone's summer kids like
Yeah.
me, but you know, it invites more, yeah, just more slowness. So
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
that's it. I think that's all I have to say.
I really love that word integration because I think there's a lot of value in framing it that way where it's like yeah like if you're because if I think about I don't know like learning how to bead, right? Like there had to be moments where like someone was teaching me or supporting me in it, and then I
Yeah,
would take it and do it myself, and
yeah,
then I would go back and be like, oh, this came up. Like, how do I? And then it would, and so then all of a sudden I took that into my own. So I'm beating, and then I'm like, oh, wait, this hasn't happened before. And then I have to reflect on what I learned and then build on those skills. Right. And
yeah,
now I'm just beating as I've been taught and doing it and not learning anything new. But when something else comes up, or I mean, my sister comes to me and is like, oh, this happened. How do I like fix this? Or how do I get the thread or whatever? um yeah, like there has like in everything we do there's moments that we're just doing it, right? Because
yeah, yeah,
it's not
yeah,
new to us anymore. So I think that integration of skills or integration of kind of like the work that we've been doing um is a phase is a phase of
yeah,
growth, is a phase of life, is a phase of whatever. So I really appreciated hearing that word integration.
yeah,
um yeah.
yeah,
All right.
yeah,
Well, this is yeah, been I knew it was going to be, especially when you came back with like I was thinking about this and this happened. This just came up for me, so I knew it was going to be a good one.
yeah.
So yeah, thanks for the conversation and all of yeah, just really I want to say profound. Sometimes I don't know if that's right, but just really like insightful kind of things that you've
Mm,
shared and
mm.
leaving to reflect on some of those things for myself in the next little while, and hopefully not too much where like I come out of this just being
Yeah,
because
right. Just
because
to
I've
let
been
it allow it to
enjoying it.
flow.
Yeah, yeah. Because oh, disappeared. That's hilarious.
Technical difficulties.
That's so funny.
I don't even know what you said. I was so excited about something I was doing in the flow. I knocked the headset right out of my face that turned off my webcam. What a chain of events. That's
Oh
it.
my
There you go. There's
God.
the metaphor.
There's,
You know, yep. It knocked me right out of just being, you know? So,
I love that. That is so funny. Yes. So definitely, like in the season of just being, I hope it continues. And maybe, I don't know, like maybe even making more of a conscious effort to try to step away from some of that
mm,
stuff more often or for different periods. But I will be just being at concerts and music over the next couple of days, which is just a place that if I could put my bed like on a field and there's just music playing all the time, like live music, I would just be so content. And I don't even care. Went to Rockville, listened to like heavy metal and all, which is really not super my thing. Country music is not really super my thing. And but everything in between, I would love it. I would love to live in on a festival grounds with music.
Hmm.
So I'm looking forward to doing that over the next couple of days and just being in those spaces.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I guess other than that, it's been a soulful kind of conversation. Thanks to everyone for listening in, joining us, and don't forget to, as always, like, share, subscribe, all the things that you can do to help our podcast grow as well.
Yeah.
And I guess until next time, stay soulful, everyone.
Thanks for tuning into Soulful. We hope you found something meaningful to carry with you on your journey. And if you enjoyed today's episode and want to show your support, we invite you to subscribe, share the podcast, and leave a review wherever you listen.
And if you're eager for more, you can connect with us on Instagram and Facebook at Soulful the Podcast for additional content and updates. Until next time, stay soulful.